All right, here we go. We got a new set coming up here today. This should be exciting. If it's not exciting for you, well, then it's not exciting for me. I do hear a little bit more of an echo over here, as that plays itself out. And let us see what we got going on. Let's close that. Come back here. And we are getting together. There we go. We got it. How to get to that button to edit the audience. And we are ready to go. It's going to be fun today. All right, here we go. Let's go back to StreamYard. And, oh, there we go. We are on already. Now we're talking. This is Various Tomato Talk. Yes. So what I've done here is I've used the slides in order to throw photos in. So let's get right to it here as to what's going on. It is June 1st. It's Pride Month. I didn't know that. It's Pride Month. A lot of things going to go on this month, a lot of parades, a lot of activity. I'm sure it'll be good. You know what? Hey, let's celebrate that fact of pride and everybody's individualism. That's all a good thing. It's all a good thing. Celebrating everybody's individualism as we go through. And it's not what made America America right in the beginning side of it. The melting pot of different nationalities, different everything. Let's just get rid of that. Different nationalities with everything. I tend to think so. Let's pop that up. There we go. I tend to think so. Oh, there we go. We've got a bigger screen when we go this route. So that's really what makes it special. And the idea of the diversification in everything, including what gets you going too. You know what? Say, man, that's all fine. I used to live in Queens, used to live in the Woodside area. But Queens, let me tell you, there is so many nationalities, so many restaurants, so many different places to eat, so many different places to celebrate, so many differences in there. Definitely a cool thing. So without a doubt, let's celebrate Pride Month. Juneteenth is also going to be obviously in June. So that comes up, and a whole bunch of other things. So that's where it's at. All right, so it is June 1st. What does that mean? That means that let's go add here. We shrunk me down a little bit. And actually, I want to add that to the stream. Bring up our first slide of the day. First slide of the day. What do you think? It's a little bland back there. And I'm looking through the camera at the screen. So everyone's, I got to dart to the side a little bit to see. But the Stony Brook Food Incubator event is today. It's from 2 to 4 p.m. this afternoon. And the Food Incubator for Stony Brook University is in Calverton. That's right. It's in Riverhead. It's in the county of Riverhead, but it's in Calverton, New York. So that is going to be at the end of the expressway. You can Google it. It's at the EPCAL Park. And by all means, if you can make it out there for that, please do. I think it'll be fascinating. This goes in with the whole idea here of everything and that whole idea of change, the whole idea of growth, the whole idea of opportunities on the island, careers, everything, including one of the folks I met when I was out at the drag races a couple of, back in April. And I'm hoping she and Heinz Food come back again because that story was a great story. I mean, she was out there with the food truck. And not only that, it wasn't just her as a business person, it was her within the school system. She was one of the school principals. And it wasn't just her with employees, it was her with students. Students. And I get that video up here someplace. But then the question there is, and the question I had to her is like, are you an employer or a mentor? And that's when she went into the whole thing. Let me tell you, it's great experience. All these things, great experience. The more we can get our students involved in some of these businesses at an earlier age to see what it is they like and don't like, good stuff. Definitely good stuff. So the food incubator, is it all students? No. These are operating, as far as I know, these are operating businesses. There's 70 plus operating businesses out there that needed a commercial kitchen. And I'm curious to see how they have the whole thing set up, but they needed a commercial kitchen in order to make the food. You can't just make food in your kitchen at home and sell it. Can't really do that. You can't do that, actually. Thinking about can't really do that. You can't do that. So they needed a commercial kitchen in order to really get their businesses off the ground. Besides that, hey, I have a great recipe and, the family friends thing. So these are kitchens. I have to imagine it's multiple kitchens. And again, I'm just kind of guessing on this whole thing because I don't know. We'll fill you in the details afterwards. But some of these uh, foods are regular foods. In other words, they're not cutting out any ingredients. Others are gluten free. Others are dairy free. And I can tell you, if you're a gluten free product, you cannot be cooking in a kitchen where there's gluten because you get airborne particles. Doesn't work. So gluten free is flat out. It's gluten free. So I'm really looking forward to meeting with many of the different businesses out there at this open house, or what it really becomes as, which is what the council member Jonathan Cornreich is promoting this as, is open house and a networking event. This really becomes an opportunity for these businesses that are operating in their own little silos, in there, and to meet some of the business people that perhaps with the right relationship can help grow their business. So that's where I think it'll be interesting to see who else comes down to this thing, whereas that could be people in the packaging business, right? All this food that's in there that's made all gets wrapped. It's got some sort of, it's in a box or plastic or something like that. So I'm told all food going out is in its own packaging. So let's think about careers there. Plastics, right? It's all about plastics. I remember that movie, right? Plastics is the future. And but so there's packaging, plastic packaging, boxes, cardboard boxes, packaging, stuff like that. It should be environmentally friendly too, so that gets factored into it. Well, what about those graphic artists? Again, we're back to the graphic artists that are designing the packaging, not designing the food, but designing the packaging. Now, if it's clear packaging, maybe there's not too much that goes into it, but still some. If it's boxed and you can't see the product, oh, now you're talking. Now it's a whole big thing. What size box package? All of that. So many factors that go into it. That's just packaging. Then I don't know if copyright is really the word over here, but that's a factor. Distribution. How do you get it into restaurants? Well, restaurants might show so many different aspects of it. And do I have any of these answers? No. I don't have any of the answers. I have a few questions. I have no answers. So there certainly is that aspect of it. All right. So that's number one, the open house event. That's by Jonathan Cornreich. And that's it. If you're going to go, and it's 1:00 now. So if you still can RSVP, please do that. And the email address for that is down here. As you can see, if you're watching a recording of this thing, obviously, well, whatever, then you missed it. And maybe you can find out about it and get in touch with council member Jonathan Cornreich. He's in the council district for Stony Brook University in Stony Brook, the Three Village area. And I'm very positive there'll be a lot of folks from out there also attending. So maybe we'll have additional contacts for you, depending upon what your interest is in this thing, whether it's just to find out about it. Maybe there's an interesting story there for our folks that want to tell stories. Our brand telling team, absolutely. Gotta love the brand telling team, sales team, all the rest of that stuff. Gotta be some good stuff. Perhaps a motivational speech is tied in there. Perhaps they'll be involved and want to be involved in showing up at some of these high school career days. Be nice. Definitely be nice. And the gluten-free, maybe they looking for exposure at some nonprofits, some of those events too. Maybe. There's a lot of maybes in here. So that's where that one is at. Let us continue on our slides here. So this one is tomorrow night. So I spoke to Rabbi Madi about this. Rabbi Madi Grosbaum, who's one of the rabbis at the Village Chabad over here in Stony Brook. That is the one that I attend. So this is definitely going to be a Jewish thing. Again, maybe not. Maybe. Well, look, it's a rabbi speaking. Yeah, how can it not be? How can not religion not be put into the whole thing? But I definitely think that well, it's certainly appropriate for the Jewish crowd, whatever. It's certainly appropriate if you want to hear a story about how to go from one place in life to a newer, much better place in life. And look, you don't have to become a rabbi if you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing if you want to change your path. But for many of us, many folks, they have found their own religion along the way. Many people have, that have been through all kinds of different things. But even forgetting the religion side of it, right? Skip that aspect of it. You have a replacement factor that gets tossed into it. Good friend of mine was also down a path, a dark path that was not doing anybody any good. So he found his replacement item. Turned out to be comedy, getting on a comedy stage. And there's quite a few folks that have been through different paths, not healthy paths, that have gone on that route. And they've replaced that, let's say, addiction with something a heck of a lot more positive. And that is, of course, comedy, getting on stage. Sometimes it's sharing their story, right up there. This gentleman, too, his family had a history of suicide. And suicide was part of his family history. That's a toughie. That's definitely a toughie. So he turned to getting on stage, comedy, ultimately, and then he became a corporate speaker in order to, in order to replace those fears or to distract himself from those fears or those decisions he had to make. So fascinating. It's fascinating. So I get that aspect of it. It's like, what do we do when we're not doing what we should be doing? And it could be very simple, not doing what we should be doing. And what do we replace it with? There's that issue that goes along with it. That's a change factor for you. So that is tomorrow night. If you are so interested. And so he went from a rapper drug dealer to now a rabbi. So he's coming in from, I think he's coming in from Delaware. He'll be over at the Village Kabod. If you want to attend that, it is a $20 or $25 fee at this point in time. It would actually be great to have everybody down there. 7 o'clock. Oh, I'm further away from this thing now. Now you got to need a bigger screen. But I believe that one starts at 7 o'clock. So you just want to look up Village Kabod, Stony Brook. You get all the information over there, or get in touch with me. So that is it. And I know our friends, Alex, the entertainment guy. Alex has been very busy with the Brickyard. The Brickyard is located in the Clarion Hotel, but the Brickyard Cafe, Bar and Grill, is got a couple of events coming up that he's been promoting, been definitely part of. So I wish Alex all the success when it comes to this, along with the new networking group that he's involved with, that he created. So this Friday night, the return of Petty 4, it's a Tom Petty tribute band, and the debut of Time Machine. The kid around on that one is Bring Your DeLorean. All right, so that's where he's at on those things. So that's pretty darn exciting. We are at 13 minutes right now. Let me just add this over here to the screen. And this is last night, and I'm going to get to this whole thing. Is why do we do what it is that we do? Why is it? Why is it? Why is it that this family, and I'm sure it's a family effort, decided to take this truck and put all the time, energy, and effort into working on it? Is there a business there? Perhaps there is. Maybe there's not. Maybe it's just a hobby. Maybe it's just a way and something that he wanted to do in order to be involved with his family a little bit more. What about that one? I took that photo for my dad. I did. He'd get a big kick out of that car, as that goes. But this was the Long Island Needs a Drag Strip team. That's right. Every Tuesday night at Mount Carmel Church in Patchogue, New York, they have the car show. So they had this down there. And I went on this whole idea too. Is it something that we do for fun? Is it something that we do for business? Maybe it's something we do because we're just inspired by it. Good question. So last night, actually, when I attended the car show, my goal there was twofold. All right, twofold, maybe three. I had a fun time. I love chatting with these. I don't know anything about cars, which is the sad part, but I just enjoy listening in on some of these conversations. And there was these three guys at one car, and I got a photo of the car up there, and they just had they definitely knew what they were talking about in the automotive business or repair. They had their own cars. But they were chatting over this thing. It was like unbelievable. The level of enthusiasm and detail is what they were talking about. I don't want to get too close because I don't want that to ask me a question. What am I going to say? Hey, yeah, my name is Brian, and I don't know anything about these things. Great. So anyhow, I took this photo. So they were there for the fun of it, I guess, of the camaraderie of it. So I attended last night for the fun. I enjoy it, but also as a learning experience because I want to get much better with using my camera. So I had a little challenge with myself is to see if I could take a better photo with my camera, an actual camera on manual, no less, versus my phone. So we'll compare some of those photos. But this one didn't look terribly bad. So I think that's okay. This is with the camera, by the way. Always with the camera. This car was cool, right? So this one I took a couple of photos. I mean, obviously you're looking at the better of them, but this one I took from the side, you know, jet black car, and then I took it at a little bit more of an angle. So the question is, which looks better? I like the angle a little bit more. So definitely a cool car. And there we have can I take a picture of an engine with a reflection? So it was fun, to go and do and adjust the lighting and all the rest of it. So one of these days, I actually would love to go down there with somebody that could help me out with the camera a little bit more. But I also learned something along the way too. So it wasn't just the matter as another one for my dad. He had a 56 Chevy, and I think this one it said it in the license plate, not too sure. But what I realized with going down there to take photos and being able to make all those adjustments, it's what's the effect? And maybe that filters into everything else we do too. What's the effect? Look, the two of us go into business, right? Auto repair business. You go to an event. What do? I do auto repair. Obviously not me. I do auto repair. Okay. What does that mean? It means you're changing oil all the time, changing tires, keeping the car running, do tune-ups? Or are you restoring historical vehicles? Or do you only work with high-end vehicles? What does it really mean? So it's different. It's different. So, that's the why are you doing what you do? For what purpose? What's the end goal over here? I'm taking photos. What's the end goal with that? It's a good question. Right? I enjoy taking photos. I'm at different events, stuff like that. So I just wanted this way we always have somebody that could take decent photos, with different things. That's it. That's it. Especially nonprofit stuff, not bringing a real photographer, to everything. But I realized when I was taking these photos, it's what effect am I going for? Right? What effect was I going for? And that really became an eye opener and something that impacted me when I'm taking these things, adjusting for light and all the rest of that stuff. It's like, what effect am I going for? And I think in business, it's the same thing. What effect are you going for? Are you just making help somebody make their day a little bit easier and facilitate? Or are you really trying to, if you're a coach, right? I mean, are you really trying to change the way somebody thinks? Or just help them streamline a little bit? It's a good question. It's a good question. I just got done with a mastermind group, and I think that one was not streamlining. In fact, it was a little uncomfortable is the word I'm going to use, but that's not really it. But it was very thought-provoking, which means you wind up pushing yourself out of the comfort zone on that thing. So they were a coach, but they really wanted you to think and think differently, as opposed to some other coaches that maybe not want you to think differently, but think the same, just more efficiently. We shall see. Other coaches just want to share their information, like a group like SCORE. That's the Society of Retired Executives. They want to share their information with you that's pertinent to you. And that becomes a slightly different thing there too. So got to really understand that and understand when you're working with somebody else. But I think understanding that from you going out, what is it? What is it that you're really doing? And I think that also becomes the value add and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But the clearer you are with it, the clearer you'll be able to convey that information. I think I went backwards there. Oh no, I just took two photos. This guy was wearing a red jacket and a red hat too. I wish I could have gotten him in there. That was just a nice. That was a nice ensemble, as that goes. It's another one. Beautiful cars. These things are something else. That was the one that the three guys just continued to talk about. And I'm sitting there. I wanted to get a photo of just the car. He was trying to get a picture of just the car with the trees, but I couldn't do it without the other background cars in there. And the other cars were all parked too close together. So you can't silhouette a car, doing that whole thing. But I must have been out there for 15 minutes, just standing there waiting for them to move. So they had a good time. Definitely had a good time. And I had a great time chatting with the other folks that are part of the Long Island Needs a Drag Strip. A funny group, I got to tell you. They're definitely having a good time. Raised a lot of money for the church last night too. You had how many the exact total, but like 500 plus cars. They're asking for $1 donation when you show up. $1, that's it. But even if everybody just gave $1, you're talking $500 for the church, and there was some food donations too. So works out rather well in that one. This one is make this car a little bit longer. You got the Herman Munster car. I know that floats around Long Island. Whoop. Yeah, I know that floats around Long Island every so often. There we go. Let's go back. Look quick on that trigger finger there. Another one. Beautiful, beautiful paint job on this car. Obviously, these folks over there agreed. Looking at that one, again, Dad will send that one out to you. This guy is like, hey, you're going to take a picture of my car? I'm looking around the camera. All of a sudden, I'm a professional photographer. It's like, okay, without a doubt. So I'm expecting him to send me a text message or an email, and so I can send a photo of it to him. But we'll get these things posted out there. And then he had a big Hemi engine in there too, and he kept talking about. So all right, we'll take a picture. Take a picture of the engine. So that is what we did. These cars are immaculate. Really something else. They take such just great care of these cars. This one, you gotta love purple. You definitely have to love purple. Cars for sale. Cars for sale. But I can tell you, if you own any one of these cars, you know what? You're making a statement. Ooh, that becomes a PR thing there too. You're making a statement. And there was one, let's go stop sharing over there too. By the way, if you buy that car, you let him know that you saw it over here. I get ice cream. That was my deal with him. Send me some ice cream, at the next time I show up at these things. There we go. We're back in the game again. Yeah. So, all right, we got a couple of minutes. I want to, well, we're going to cut this one a little bit early today, as want to make it. Got a few things to do actually. Got to head out there to that, to the food incubator. Doing that. But what do? Let's go with the message in here. Hey, Carol, good to see you there. Oh, a little bit further away with the words that keeping Long Islanders very busy. Yes. Oh, let's see if I can make it here. This way I can read it a little bit better. Oh, yeah, there you go. Bigger words. There we go. Learn something. Thanks for thanks for helping me learn out there. Keeping Long Islanders very busy. Yes. Yeah. You know what? There's so many things that we can do that are really positive. And that's one of the things I'm just like totally after in here. Definitely got to refine it down a little bit more. That was one of the reasons why I joined that mastermind group, the Shift Crew. That was also one of the reasons why I've got an appointment set up next week with the Stony Brook Small Business Development Center, to kind of go over this stuff. And it's not so much as changing careers. That's not it. That's not really it. I'd like to be able to build something. That's really the goal. I want to be able to build something. Which brings us to the question. When we're doing something, are we doing it for fun? Are we doing it for business? We'll say as a side gig? Or are we doing it from a career standpoint? Well, be interesting if all three of those things melded into each other. I've been having a fun time. I hope you have too, in those extracurricular things that you do, whatever it might be, whether it's writing an article every once in a while, whether it's helping out a nonprofit someplace and volunteering your time, whether it's involvement in whatever religious organization you're involved with and helping out doing something, anything within those groups. Maybe you just focused on your family and helping them out in different ways, and your free time is devoted to that. It could be any of those things. You having a fun time doing that? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Can you create a business out of it? You may not even want to. You may just be having a fun time. And you know what? There are certainly certain things that we do that should just be for fun. And I think that actually filters into the mental illness kind of things, our mental well-being. Let's put it more positively. Our mental well-being. What do we do to kind of just escape, let's say escape reality? Look, some of the folks I mentioned before, they wound up shifting down a dark path and they became something else. They became a comic. They became, well, in the case with our event on Thursday, they became a rabbi. You could do either one of those things. You could become a motivational speaker. You could become a business owner. You could become a whole lot of things. You know what? If you're having a fun time and you're doing that thing, and maybe you do have a possibility there, maybe not, categorize it. And I think that's something, looking at different conversations I've had, especially with that shift group thing, it's a matter of categorizing. You know, why am I doing what I do? Is it just for fun? Fantastic. Then keep it there. Just keep it there. Am I trying to build something and not getting any place with it, but I'm doing it because it's fun? Well, is that going to take the fun away from what you do just for fun because you're always trying to build something out of it? I think it will. So then categorize. Then you got the business stuff, the side gig business. What do you really expect out of it? Is it a career move? That's a whole different ballgame if it's a career move. Or is it just a side gig, something you just want to see if you could do? That's another decision. And throwing these things into different categories, I think it also really helps you focus on your expectations from those things. What do you really want out of it? I'll use the photography as an example over here. It's a nice, quick, safe thing to do, right? The photography. I have a camera. I spent money on a camera. When they went in there, they asked me, what's my budget? And I'm like, I don't really know. I didn't really think about that too much. You know, I knew I didn't want to spend, thousands of dollars, but what? And then the second question was, what am I going to do with these photos? Why am I taking photos? That really became a much more focused question than it was, how much money do I have to spend? Look, if I'm sitting here and I got millions of dollars and I spent $5,000 on a camera with all the fancy lens, you know what? It's meaningless money. I'd like to spend meaningless money on a camera if it's just for fun. But it's meaningless money. If you're making less than that, money's an issue, or money's a factor at least, then what are you using a camera for? That becomes a much more impactful question. So I explained it and bought a camera, as such. I don't have a $5,000 camera, just to be really clear about that one. I also didn't buy a $200 camera either. And then I was told that lenses make a difference. And there becomes the upgrade. And now I've also come to learn that there are other things that can be added to the whole thing that make a difference, including like this camera that I'm using here, for this video. I was using the camera just right in the computer. You know what? Didn't cut it. Now I'm doing this thing, right? So I spent $100 on this camera. So it works, Logitech. All of a sudden it looks a lot better, so that's good. But what do you want to do with that? So I just want to be able to take good photos, different places, highlight some of the places I'm at, highlight some of the people I'm with, that kind of thing. It's a hobby. I'm not looking to get paid by anybody to take photos, anything like that. It's just a hobby. I want to be a good amateur photographer. And that's why I did that as opposed to the phone. I want to see if I can actually take better photos with the camera than with the phone. Disappointing if I can't. But then I know that I need to go get lessons about how to do that. And that's why. And I'll probably be asked the same question. Are you a professional photographer or just having a good time? Just having a good time. So there's a difference there too. So when you go into something, when you make a decision on something, what category it is? Why do you do what you do? Is it for fun? Is it side gig or is it full-blown career? And if it's full-blown career, look at it like that. Then all of a sudden, those other things got to go by the wayside. Got to focus on the career stuff. Really make sure that you are doing what it is that you should be doing. Get the information you need, get whatever schooling you need, training you need, experience you need, volunteer in places where you can pick up that experience, work at different places, do internships at those places where you can really meet the people that are going to make an impact in your career down the road. Categorize stuff. Categorize stuff. And if you're doing what you should be doing, it's all going to be fun. But it won't be just for fun. It'll be more than that. Have a great day. I had a fun time today. We'll check in with you again tomorrow. Remember to do what you do best. And if it's not what you do best, go call somebody, figure out ways to make it your best. But remember, when you're out there, my friends, do what it is. Speak well, speak often, and always live inspired.